Hey, vinyl community, happy Saturday. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope it's a little bit warmer where you are. I mean, we're in April for crying out loud. Can we get rid of the cold? Anyway, today I wanted to do a video on a topic that's always kind of intrigued me, and that is an album that was named after a song, but that song did not appear on that album. It appeared later. So for whatever reason, an album was given the title of this particular song, and for whatever reason, it never actually made the album. Why did that happen? Because in many cases, the songs themselves are pretty fantastic. So I'm gonna go just to 5 albums where that is the case. The first one that I want to show, this is Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Brain Salad Surgery. Now, when this album came out, I think like most people, or at least when I was familiar with this album, I had no idea there was actually a song called Brain Salad Surgery. And if you bought this album back in the day, neither did you. And don't tell me that you did, because no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Anyway, so for as far as fans were concerned, it was just a quirky title for an album. And then a few albums later, I think it was at least 2 albums later, because the next studio album that Emerson, Lake and Palmer came out with was Works. We got Works Part 2, and lo and behold, there is a song on here called Brain Salad Surgery. Now, I don't know if they just recorded a song and gave it the name Brain Salad Surgery after that album came out, or if that song had been around and they just, for whatever reason, didn't put it on Brain Salad Surgery, held it over for part 2 of the Works album. Don't know. One of my favorite bands of all time, The Doors, Waiting for the Sun. Again, when you bought this album, you thought, oh, well, it's just the title, you know. And because it's not anywhere on here, you don't believe me, look. Look! It is not. There's no song on here called Waiting for the Sun. So if you were a Doors fan, you didn't think anything of it until you bought in 1969 their latest album, or I'm sorry, 1970, you bought their latest album, Morrison Hotel, and then song number 2, holy cow, is Waiting for the Sun. Now, what gives, and I always wondered, because Waiting for the Sun is a fantastic song, and I would say Waiting for the Sun is better than at least half the songs on the actual album, Waiting for the Sun, so I have no idea why it didn't appear on that album. It's a head scratcher to be sure, but I love it. It almost feels a little bit out of place on Morrison Hotel, which is more of kind of an organic, bluesy kind of album. Then you've got this psychedelic song with shimmering keyboards, and it's just, especially after the song Roadhouse Blues, it's, the juxtaposition is a little strange, but I'm glad it's on Morrison Hotel. Love the song, but just one of those weird creative decisions. Another one of my all-time favorite bands, and you know this one's coming, talking about Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy. Now, this is, again, another one where I love the song Houses of the Holy. I think Houses of the Holy is incredible, and I kind of understand why they didn't include it on this album. Well, maybe not necessarily why they didn't include it on here, but maybe why one of the other songs wasn't substituted. Because I think the reasoning behind it was the fact that House of the Holy, the song sounds a little bit too close to some of the other material on here. Dancing Days, for instance, maybe a little bit like The Ocean. So I kind of get, like, okay, too much of the same. They didn't want too many up-tempo rockers on here, so maybe that's why they left it off. And maybe they were just so happy with all the songs on here, there just wasn't room. I don't know, but as any Led Zeppelin fans know, on the following album, it did appear, Houses of the Holy, on here, and I think it's one of those tracks that just stands out on Physical Graffiti. So And it's not such a big deal that it's not on that album, but you know, it's sort of interesting that it was there around the time they named the album after it and did not appear. This is one of my favorite artists of the 1980s. Elvis Costello named his album, and this has always been very curious to me because this, if you're familiar with Elvis Costello, this is an album of classic country covers on here. You've got, you know, some George Jones on here. I think you may have, I don't know if there's any. I'm not enough of a country fan to know all the different artists. I know there's a Flying Burrito Brothers cover on here, but just classic country songs. And first of all, the cover artwork looks like a jazz album. So it's the farthest thing from a country looking cover than you will ever get. And the song itself, Almost Blue, is not on here because it's almost like a torch song. It's kind of a little jazzy piano soft ballad, which would have been completely out of place on this album. So I just don't understand. Number one, why did you call a country album, an album of country songs, Almost Blue? Have a jazz, I know this is, I think it's a Kenny Burrell cover that this is kind of paying homage to. So everything about this screams jazz. If you saw this in the binge, you're like, oh, maybe it's a bunch of jazz covers or something, but it's not. And so that track didn't appear until the following studio album, Imperial Bedroom. It is on at the end of side one. So just a very curious artistic decision. Not sure why Elvis made the decision to do that. And then the last album that I'm going to show, this is the 1967 album, More of the Monkees. The song More of the Monkees does not appear anywhere on this album, which is very interesting. So if you bought this back in the day, again, you're like, oh, More of the Monkees, more Monkee songs. But the song More of the Monkees actually would not appear until this album, Thompson Twins, Here's the Future Days. Song More of the Monkees is tucked away at the end of side two. So again, not sure why that decision was made. I think the song would have fit very well the original 1967 Monkees album, but there you have it. So if you have any albums that you would like to share in the comment section that I didn't cover, I'm sure there's many more. Those happen to be my favorites. Let me know. Hope you have a great weekend and take care.